Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking to you about why I think that in the year of 2024 in the state of California, a lot of gun stores are going to be closing. There's a wide range of why it's difficult to operate a business in general in the state of California, and when it comes to being a gun store, things are just even harder. Now, some bills are going to be going into effect July 1st of 2024, and some of them are going to be going into effect January 1st of 2024. All of them are going to impact the sales, the cost of goods, and the cost of operating a business in the state of California. Coupling all those together, I think it's going to have a big impact, and we're going to see a lot of gun stores close. I'm also going to talk about one way that you can get around one of these restrictions that are going to be affecting you if you buy guns in the state of California, or if you buy ammunition in the state of California, and you're going to want to pay attention to that as well. If you want to support the channel, use any of the links down in the description below. Like this video, send it to a friend. Really, send this video to your mom. That would be much appreciated. But let's just get into the video. So, one of the big reasons why in the state of California it's going to be across the board massive increases in the cost of doing business as a gun store in the state of California. Senate Bill 1384 goes into effect January 1st of 2024. What this bill requires is that any gun store operating in the state of California have 24/7 audio and video recording in high definition 15 frames per second minimum, 24/7 of the entire internal area of where guns are stored or displayed. Now, that might seem like a simple solution. Buy a couple of those cheap Ring cameras, pay for the $150 a year for the service, and call it good, right? No, unfortunately not. This is going to have to record 24/7 for the entire area of the store. It's going to be required that you store that footage for a year minimum. And because of that, there's going to be a lot of costs involved, and it's going to have to be stored in a way that is restrictive from people tampering with it. Some of the specific language is a little vague, but basically you're going to have to need a high-level security camera system, not just a couple Ring cameras. I've spoken to several people, or at least several people have spoken to me and reached out to me saying, hey, they're in the video surveillance business, and they've quoted several gun stores. Some of them have multiple gun stores. And it's looking like for a medium-sized store in the state of California, 30 grand is a not unreasonable quote that I've heard. Now, if you work for a gun store and you've been quoted a system, please let me know down in the description below what the cost is looking like for you. But I spoke with Ammo Brothers, and I believe they said that for all 6 of their locations, it's looking like 30 grand a piece. And I've heard someone else quote a similar number. So $30,000 just to be able to set up your high quality surveillance system in one business. AB 28, the bill that had been introduced years over year, and somehow this year passed. AB 28 is adding an 11% tax to all firearms and ammunition sales in the state of California. Now, it's not going to be something that, or let me phrase this way. The people that wrote the bill said that this is not going to affect the consumer because it's an excise tax. And what that means, it's going on the manufacturer end paying 11% tax. This is similar to the Robert Pittman Act, I believe, which already accounts for 10 or 11% tax on all guns federally. Because of that, they said, let's just add that in for our own thing. So manufacturers, when they sell their firearms, are going to have to pay an 11% excise tax. Now, do you think that manufacturers are suddenly going to accept an 11% loss of income? I'm gonna be like Dora the Explorer, give you a second. Well, if you said that no, the manufacturers will not just eat 11% of their profit, you would probably be correct, which means that in the state of California, ammunition and guns are going to go up in price by approximately 11%. So, the cost of goods is going to be passed on to you, which means more consumers are going to be less likely to buy as much stuff, which means the gun stores are going to be selling less, which means they're selling less, making less money. All of a sudden, they got to pay 30 grand just to operate their business. Now they can sell less because the demand is less because the cost of goods is so much higher. Couple that with July 1st of 2024, oh, I can't remember the exact bill that this was, but in July 1st of 2024, 1 in 30 firearm rationing goes into effect. In the state of California, currently, you can only buy one handgun or semi-auto centerfire rifle per 30 days. You can buy one, but not both, within a 30-day period. One of either of those, 30 days, you could buy another one. You can buy as many bolt actions, as many rimfires, as many shotguns as you want. But if you want a handgun or semi-auto centerfire rifle, you're limited to one per 30 days. July 1st of this year, this coming year, it's one firearm or receiver or frame, which also includes 80% in the state of California. So July 1st, 2024, one firearm per 30 days. That's it. So there's a workaround to that. There's a workaround for the ammo and the ammo tax and whatnot, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But gun stores, they're going to have to pay 30 grand to keep operating their business. They're going to be selling stuff at higher prices, which means less sales. They're going to be limited in how many guns they can sell to a consumer. Even if the consumer has the means and the will to buy more than one gun, they will only be able to buy 12 in a year, maximum. Or just maybe they just only wanted 2 guns, but since the state said, oh no, you can only buy one every 30 days, maybe they just choose to not get that second gun. So these 3 law changes that are going into effect January 1st and July 1st are going to be a huge impact. Glocks, buying them through a distributor cost $450. Now this was back in 2018, so things might have changed. But at the time I worked in a gun store, we bought Glocks for about $450. We sold them for $529, which in the state of California, great price. Typically, you're gonna see in the state of California a Glock for about $560, $569. That's pretty standard, sometimes $600. Depends on where they're sourcing at the time of the year, that kind of thing, but they might make $100. Now, all of a sudden, they're making 90 if they choose to keep it the same. Some stores might even be making less if they're selling it for that $540 range. There's not a whole lot of money in that when you consider how much it costs to pay the employees to work with the customer for an hour trying to make that sale, the time doing the paperwork and the back end, the time of the customer coming back in. If the gun stores are not able to sell products like accessories, lights, holsters, ammunition, and now ammunition is going to be more expensive, if they're not equipped to find different sources of revenue, they're going to be going out of business. So I mentioned that there would be a little bit of a workaround for you as the end consumer. If you get your FFL 03, your Curio and Relic license, and a certificate of eligibility in the state of California, you will be exempt from the 1 in 30 limitations. Now, the gun store has to be willing to enter the DRO system properly. Some stores won't do it, but I think they're going to start doing it when they can no longer sell nearly as many guns. But if you get your FFL 03 and your certificate of eligibility with the state of California, which I have a video on doing it, it's a little bit outdated, might do a new one in the beginning of the year, but we'll see. If you get your FFL 03 and COE, you will be unrestricted from firearms rationing, as well as in most parts of the state of California, unless your city has an ordinance against it, you will be able to have ammunition shipped to your door. Currently, I can go online right now and buy 1,000 rounds of 9mm for a better price than you're gonna find anywhere in a store. And it can go right to my house because I have my FFL 03 and COE. If you don't, you're gonna have to find a gun store that's willing to do a transfer or pay the prices that the gun stores have. So there's huge benefits there. There are some abilities for you to go to a gun store, buy a Curio and Relic firearm, and then walk out of it without waiting 10 days. I don't do that. I don't know a whole lot about that. There is an ability to purchase certain Curio and Relic firearms out of the state of California, bring them back over, and then register them with the state. Again, I don't do that. I don't know a whole lot about that. When I finally get around to making a new video, which if you want me to make a new video about that, let me know. I will make sure that I cover that kind of information. Some people have said, oh, if you get your FFL 03 and COE, it means the ATF can just come into your house anytime they want. No. Stop saying that. If you are a Curio and Relic FFL and the ATF wants to take a look at your logbook, you have the ability to meet them at a ATF headquarter location, or if you do not engage in the collection of firearms, like I have not yet, you can just say, I have not purchased or transferred any curio and relic firearms, and therefore they would have nothing to look at. The ATF cannot just walk into your house because you have an FFL03. Doesn't happen, it's never happened. People bring up one instance of a guy who had an FFL03 and the ATF showed up at his house, but he was in the business of selling firearms, so it was a totally unrelated thing. It had nothing to do with just them making an unannounced visit to his house. A lot of FUD lore out there, please stop. Let me know what you think down below. Are you worried about your local gun store closing? Are you a local gun store that's gonna have to deal with these massive increase in cost of doing business? Let me know what you have been quoted as far as video surveillance systems. I'd love to hear you guys' opinion. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.